What is up, my podcast family? Welcome back to another episode of the Knowing Is Knowing podcast. I'm your host, Rashad Young, and as always, I appreciate you all tuning in for another episode. If you're here on YouTube, make sure to subscribe to it on the YouTube channel. Or also, click notification bell. If you're listening to this on the audio platforms, make sure to subscribe to it, review it, rate it 5 stars, all those good things. Either way, I appreciate you all taking the time to listen. I like to get straight to the point in my content. I don't like to be long-winded. I like to try to get these under 10 minutes, just solely so you can get on with your day, take the information, and move forward. And so, continuing this series, 5 things I learned in my 20s, I wanted to talk about something that's been very important to me over the past couple of weeks, and that's working hard, putting out content, showing my face more, constantly editing, improving different ways. But it is talking about hustle culture. What is hustle culture? Because hustle culture is often glamorized in life, right? You always hear about how the most hardest and most successful people are the hardest workers. They work diligently. They outlast everybody. They have this nonstop, relentless nature and being great. However, we ever talk about the downside of hustle culture? How some of the top people in the world are often creating an illusion of what it means to work hard. Now, take this for an example. For me, doing these podcasts, I do them by myself. I record by myself. I edit by myself. I put out content by myself. So the average person that are often successful, they have teams, they have systems, they have all these different things in place that gives them the ability to outlast the traditional person. Doesn't mean that working harder isn't a bad thing, but we have to understand what it means to embrace hustle culture, because when you think about the concept of rising and grinding and working 12 to 14 hours a day, there's a truth that many of us just aren't wired enough to do that. There's a lot of nuances that come with working in hustle culture. You know, when it's hustle culture, you have to sacrifice. You have to sacrifice something, whether it's sleep, whether it's social time, whether it's your basic needs. You know, it's understanding those periods in time that makes hustle culture dangerous. There are definitely pros in it, though. You know, the pros of hustle culture is that you're creating a sense of self-worth, right? You realizing that your dreams, your goals, your ideas, your passions, whatever it is you're looking to gain towards are worth taking the time away from other things, right? So if you want to be successful in your business, or, you know, if maybe you are working in the field of education, or maybe you're a lawyer, whatever it is, you know, it's going to require a level of effort to be successful at whatever your desires are in that particular field. There is a pro. You're understanding your self-worth in being successful, and you're going after it relentlessly no matter what. The other pro is that you're trying to create a skill development. You know, to be a master at any craft roughly takes 10,000 hours at minimum. To be a master at any craft takes about 10,000 hours at minimum. I want to make that very clear. And so it's understanding that you're going to work hard as much as you can until you become a master at your craft. The issue that hustle culture often pushes out is that in our minds, when we work harder, we're also trying to shorten the time length of what it means to be successful. And that's not the case. That's not true at all. You have to understand that there's still a patience with working hard. You have to be patient in getting to that next step, but you're still working hard every day as if your next opportunity is going to come at any moment. The other thing is that it's creating a sense of pride. Again, taking the sense of pride of what is it that you like to do, being happy and being fulfilled. You know, fulfillment is very important. If you look at statistics all over the world, you'd be very surprised that America is one of the least happiest populations in the country. Now, statistics fluctuate, so I don't want to give you a precise number, but to be a country that often glamorizes money, wealth, capitalism, the people itself are relatively unhappy. Why is that? Is it because of the jobs that many of us work? Maybe. Is it because we're working at an astronomical rate and we're not getting compensated for it? It could be. Or is it simply because many of us aren't working in the areas of things that are creating levels of fulfillment? That's typically the case, right? And so now a lot of us are working to escape the rat race, which is a real thing. A lot of us working in industries where it is a never-ending wheel cycle where it just keeps spinning and spinning, and you're just trying to get out. So you're trying to work harder to escape and get freedom. And that's fine. We're all chasing freedom. I know we often talk about money being the goal. A lot of people just want to be free in the sense of doing what it is that they love to do every single day. The problem is that hustle culture creates an illusion that if you work harder, you're going to escape the rat race. But the other caveat is if you work harder, you become more successful. A lot of us will then often introduced to a different lifestyle. And when we're introduced to a different lifestyle, you have to realize that you still have to work just as hard to maintain it. So when people obtain more money, they usually buy more things. One of the truths is that we are one of the largest consumers in the world. A lot of it is based on materials, and there's nothing wrong with nice things. But in order to keep those nice things, you have to work and maintain it. So you have to really find a balance of what exactly is it that's important to you in that process. Because with hustle culture becomes one that comes with one major thing: burnout. Burnout is the biggest con when it comes to hustle culture. There's a lot of things that I think people don't recognize, that in order to be successful, you have to be in alignment with your physical, spiritual, mental, emotional, and all the other elements of the human experience. But if you work yourself to death in one area, you're going to die in other areas as well. You're not going to grow. There's a time and place for working hard. There's a time and place to work smart, because the most successful people aren't necessarily always working harder. They're just working smarter. They have systems in place. Especially if you don't have a team starting off, you have to find a way to make it work. I know people have their views on AI. I know people have their views on all other different things. But if you're trying to do something from the ground up, you're going to need help. There's nothing in this life that we can do by ourselves. There's nothing. We need assistance. We need something to get us to move forward. The other con with hustle culture, as I mentioned, outside of burnout, is neglected relationships. That sacrifice, is that sacrifice worth making for you? Is it worth pushing out your time away from your loved ones in order to reach a certain goal? Some people are okay with that, and some people are not. It's, again, evaluating what is it that's important to you at that time. Especially in our 20s, this is the most important time for us to really capitalize on. Not necessarily capitalize for success, but to capitalize as far as the foundation for what is important to us that we value for the rest of our life. Other part that's very damaging about hustle culture is diminishing creativity. If you're a content creator, you do things that require a lot of brain power. You have to recognize that you have to feel created and inspired often. I know we talk about motivation being a fake feeling. You have to be able to push through that. But again, the natural and most typical people in the world are inspired by their emotions. We cannot negate that. I know people want to say, push past it. It's not realistic with everybody. Some of the most creative, most inspiring people are literally inspired and create the greatest things based off how they feel. It's just a fact of life. And so to negate that and tell people to push past that, you're going to create a bad product, whatever it is. So never force anything because you want to work harder than everybody else. Yes, it creates a callous to understand that you have to push hard past certain things at sometimes, but recognizing that forcing things just so you can get something done does not necessarily create success. Taking those days off, rather it's one day to just rest and recalibrate, or it's just to sit back and meditate for 30 minutes, whatever you can do that can kind of get a system and going to recognize that you still need to take care of yourself. We're not robots. We're human beings. And everything we do, we can stretch beyond our capacity once we take the time to recognize ourselves and become more self-aware. But we have to recognize that working harder and pushing past hustle culture does not create success faster. It does not. So, what is the biggest takeaway? If you want to work harder, understand it's going to come with a sacrifice. Number 2, be aware that with that sacrifice, you may lose things around you, friends, family, certain concepts, because this is a lonely road. To be successful, to reach the next step in your life, you're going to have to separate yourself from people, and that's okay. The third step is to be aware. Be aware of what it means to you to be successful. What exactly are you working hard for? And it has to be more than just monetary value, because once you reach that monetary value, I guarantee you, and you buy all those different things, I guarantee you it's going to create a level of emptiness. We have to find fulfillment outside of just monetary gain. Money is important. I will never say that on camera that it's not, because money creates freedom. But the more you chase money, the more you let money, the more you're living with money. You're living for money. You're living to maintain a lifestyle that money provides. It's a never-ending cycle. And number 4, take care of yourself at all times. Be mindful that with hustle culture, as important as it is to be successful, it creates a damaging image not only to ourselves, but people around us who are often trying to be inspired by others. Be truthful in your place of content. Do not sit here and say how you wake up at 5 a.m. in the morning and you do a workout every day and you go to a sauna and then you meditate in the grass. Because the truth is, everybody is not doing that. The most successful people don't necessarily always have routines. Again, structure is important. I'm not diminishing that at all. But let's quit lying to ourselves about these fake day in the lives, about these fake moments of repetition and schedule, because it's not true. Success looks different in different ways. It's just finding a way to be smart in the system that works best for you. And you can do it. 'Cause I got it like you got it. And I believe in you. But with that being said, I appreciate you all tuning in to another episode. As always, make sure to subscribe to it on your favorite audio platform, YouTube. And I'll see you soon. Until next time. Peace.